Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Allison and I'm a certified holistic health coach for women with Hashimoto's disease. And today we're going to be talking about TPO antibodies or thyroid peroxidase antibodies. So if you've been recently diagnosed or maybe you've been diagnosed for a while, these numbers on your lab work generally are what diagnose you with Hashimoto's disease. So a lot of times people get misdiagnosed for a very long time because traditional doctors, even endocrinologists, are not running these labs on your lab work and therefore leaving you in the dark with what's actually happening with your body. They generally only test your TSH, which stands for your thyroid stimulating hormone, which is actually just in your pituitary in your brain. It is, which sends a message to your thyroid. So it's not an actual thyroid, full-on thyroid marker. It's just a little piece of the puzzle that's happening. So we want to look at a full thyroid panel. If you're not familiar with what that looks like, it is, you want to make sure you have your TSH, your free T3, your free T4, your reverse T3, your TPO or your thyroid peroxidase antibodies, and TG antibodies or thyroid globulin antibodies. Those two markers, your TPO antibodies and your TG antibodies, are typically what diagnose you with Hashimoto's disease. And so when you see these numbers pop up on your lab work, this is indicative of a Hashimoto's diagnosis. But really what this means is that your immune system is off balance, not your thyroid. So we get a little confused when we get these numbers, and traditional conventional doctors don't know what to do with them, which is why they typically don't run them, because they literally just don't know what to do with a Hashimoto's diagnosis. And that's why you're probably going to the doctor and you're feeling really dismissed of what's actually going on, because they don't know how to help you. And that's what happens time and time again. I see so many clients of mine go to a doctor or go to an endocrinologist and they're misinformed. They're just put on thyroid medication only to be told only to still feel really bad. And this is because thyroid medication may be necessary, but it's not going to lower these antibodies. It's not going to bring these numbers down. So that's one of the biggest misconceptions that I see, because again, traditional doctors, endocrinologists are not telling you that because they don't know. They're not educated and trained on this. So when we're seeing those elevated antibodies or even TG antibodies, this is your immune system. And because over 70% of your immune system is in your digestive tract, this is what we really want to look at, and we want to see why these numbers are elevated. So we look at the digestive tract and what I call physical and emotional toxins in the body, and this is why these numbers are elevated. So it's really important to make sure you, again, get a full thyroid panel, and I'm going to link my blog post below this, which can tell you where to order one. If you need to order a full thyroid panel, you can order one through my link, and it's included in my blog post that I will link here. Okay, so today I'm going to be covering I'm going to be covering 3 ways you can lower your antibodies. If you want to learn 5, I do have a blog post called 5 ways to lower your TPO antibodies, which I will link in this video. But in this video, I'm going to be covering 3. And they can help you to lower these. So whether you have seen, it doesn't matter if your TPO antibodies are over 1,000 or if they're 60 or whatever. This is still indicative of Hashimoto's. This is still indicative of your immune system being inflamed. So we want to really look at your immune system in this case. So this is why you're on thyroid medication, and maybe you don't feel good still, or maybe you feel slightly better, but you don't feel all the way better. This is because it's not getting to the root of the issue. So again, well, I shared, when I was first diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease, my TPO antibodies were, like 1,500 plus. They were off the charts, like you wouldn't believe. And of course it's startling and it's scary to see that. But what can happen is that we can make change. When we make changes, we can drop these and we can normalize them. So I've personally cut mine in half, more than in half. And so I know that you can do it too. And that's why I'm gonna share those tips and tricks with you of some places to get started. So let's first start with like, where does this come from? Like, where does this number come from when you see it on your lab work? So it's what I call the 2 T's of Hashimoto's disease: toxins and trauma. So things, by the time we get a diagnosis, our bodies are just overloaded physically and emotionally. And it is the body's way of saying, I have had enough. So in today's world, we are being exposed to so many environmental toxins that our bodies just cannot keep up. Everything from the food we eat, to the water we drink, to the products that we use, all of them contain toxins, and it's not regulated, it's not looked after for our health and safety. And so we are being inundated with all of these things that our bodies just don't recognize. And so it's our responsibility to make some changes and some choices that we can to bring our bodies back into balance and to bring our immune system back into balance, as well as our thyroid health as well. So first and foremost, one of the top reasons that people have an elevated antibodies is inflammatory foods. It is one of the first places I recommend everybody start with is looking at your diet. And it's the most tangible things that we can start with. And if you haven't already given up gluten, that is the number one thing that I recommend you do, because it basically, especially here in the US, it is sprayed with a herbicide and pesticide called glyphosate. And glyphosate is sprayed all over our crops and it's causing us to be very sick. So it's not an 80-20 rule with giving up gluten. We really do need to remove it 100% from our diet to lower these numbers and to feel good in the body. So you may find that you have more energy. You may find that your certain symptoms go away, like brain fog, things like that, when you completely eliminate gluten from your diet. We want to incorporate healthy, good foods, because there's a lot of foods out there that are gluten-free, but they're actually not really good for us. They have a lot of processed seed oils and yucky stuff in there. So I recommend keeping it to what I call the Fantastic 3: animal protein, healthy fats, and a variety of fruits and vegetables. It's going to keep your blood sugar stable. It's going to lower those antibodies. It's going to help your metabolism. It's going to help so many things in your physical body. So that toxin number one would be glyphosate, which is super, super common. It's found in a lot of our foods. And the way we can navigate that is to remove it from our diet as much as possible. If you need help with this, I do have a inflammation bundle that you can download. I'll link it in this video as well. Number 2 way that you can lower your antibodies is through red light therapy. And I have another video on this and what that looks like. But red light therapy is one of my favorite ways to lower your antibodies. It is scientifically proven. There's tons of research behind it. Basically what it does is you really want to have a high quality device that is low in EMF or electromagnetic frequencies. You can shine it directly on your thyroid itself, and I like to put it over my face and over my thyroid, and it can lower your antibodies. It can repair and regenerate thyroid tissue. There's so many amazing things. It can help with your skin. There's so many great things you can do with the red light therapy. I just recommend getting a good quality one that, like I said, is low in electromagnetic frequencies, because otherwise if you're buying a cheap one off Amazon, it's going to be adding more toxins into the body, and we don't want to do that. So it's better to invest in a good quality one. That's the way you're not adding more unnecessary things to the body. And I have a blog post on this as well if you want to check that out. I also have a video on it where I talk more about the research behind it and things like that. And I've personally lowered my antibodies with red light therapy, as well with diet as well. So 2 really tangible places to start. And lastly, the third recommendation is you can start to supplement with selenium. I recommend starting with diet first and foremost, because sometimes we go into, I just need to take all these supplements and then I'm gonna feel better, which is not always the truth. So we wanna start with our foundations and make sure we have that in place. But 200 milligrams of selenium has been proven to lower thyroid peroxidase antibodies. You don't necessarily need to take a supplement for this. You can also use Brazil nuts if you're not sensitive to nuts. 1 to 2 Brazil nuts a day optimizes, it gives you about the daily dosage of selenium. Or you can take a supplement, but you don't want to overdo it with selenium, because it can, you can overdo it with selenium too, and that's not good. So you want to make sure about 200 milligrams of that. And it can help prevent heavy metals, which is another toxicity from entering the body and things like that. So selenium is really great for thyroid health and for boosting your immune system, which is, again, those antibodies are the immune system. So that's what we're doing with all 3 of these tips, is we're boosting the immune system, which is what we want to do. That's how we lower antibodies, is boost the immune system. And there's lots more toxicities that we could dive into. If you've maybe already done all 3 of these things and you still have elevated antibodies, then we want to look at some other toxicities in the body, like mold toxicity, metals, heavy metals, bacteria, viruses, parasites, things like that can all cause elevated antibodies as well. And for this, I recommend some deeper testing to see what's going on. So you can work with me if you want to explore that. Another factor is our emotions. We can be stuck in fight or flight, anxiety. We could be stuck in toxic workplaces and toxic relationships. All of these things impact and suppress our immune system. So we want to look at all aspects of our life, not from just what we're eating or putting in our bodies, but also who we're putting ourselves around, and our nervous system, which a lot of us with Hashimotos have trauma. So I'm not going to get into depth of that in this video, but it can really impact and suppress your immune system, especially when we are surrounding ourselves with people, places, and things that are suppressing our immune system. So that is my top tips for today. I will leave the links below for the blog I recommend, and also my inflammation bundle is $33. You can download it and get access to my grocery shopping guide, recipes, and my blood sugar balancing guide. This can really start you off of lowering those antibodies. And I highly recommend you take advantage of that so you can start feeling better and get your energy back. I'll also leave my blog post link below, and if you have any questions, please leave them below. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye-bye.